to play if you fool my wrong. The cover telling me I'm right when I write these songs. I need a little more time. 3.5 clouds and I'm flying. I swear I hate the fate, I'm always do it wrong. I've been moving all you want if it's too damn long. Regretting every time I lie, but that's the story of my life.
Hey, what's good with y'all? Really been waiting to do this video for a long time. Hopefully this will help you improve your emotional beats, and I'm happy to say this video is sponsored by 𝕃𝕇𝕆 plugins. Stay tuned for the demo segment to get a checkout code to unlock a free bonus plugin, which I'll, demo in there as well. So yeah, let's get it. For the piano, I always use Noir Pure. I use the dark preset right here. First off, whenever you start a piano melody, of course you want some chords, right? You have to pay attention to your root notes. These are the biggest mistakes I see made. There are just some certain chord progressions that always work really well and tie in with that specific emotional reaction that you get. So first off, we're at 96 BPM, and let me just play what I have right now. First off is one that just goes 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. And let's just build a minor chord, literally just paste that over. But we're gonna bring this down, invert this one just like that. Yeah, another chord progression that always works really well is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, up, 1, 2, 3. This one is insanely good. Let's just build some minor chords, just like that. Let's actually customize this now because this is just like the default pattern. So let's just move this over. We're gonna also move over, invert that, and arpeggiate this. And let's say we want this chord to be up higher. So now at this point we can start actually building onto it, right? And then let's copy this over, except we're going to delete that top note. So now we have something very basic to start with. Literally just realized I was not recording. All right, so now that we have all that in mind, let's go ahead and move on to the top line. What I would recommend you do is start very simple. Just something really simple like that. We're gonna copy this over, and then we're gonna start just altering it pretty much. I never really wanna make a completely different pattern. So let's move this up. Let's reverse these right here. And then let's copy all that over, pitch this up. Just move this note up. But bottom line, you want to keep these top lines pretty repetitive because it's really good for songwriting when you do that. Like you can observe how I did that same technique right here. Like I had this really simple harmony, copied that over. I just added 2 notes, copied that over again. You can see I pitched these top 2 up like that. Just added another G. The 4th bar, I just completely changed it up. As far as effects on pianos, very, very big on mixing. First off, you always want to compress your pianos with something, whether that be just a stock compressor, an OTT, or a MOTT. I use something called MOTT. It's essentially just OTT on steroids. So this is before, and this is after. So it gives it like a very nice, bright, and compressed sound. Next is an EQ, just to take out the muddiness, because there's always muddiness in pianos. Alright, so this video is sponsored by 𝕃𝕇𝕆 plugins, and they sent over their plugin called Spacer, just dropped a couple weeks ago, which is like a multi-effect bundle, almost like Effect Rack or something like that. And I actually really, really like this. Really went and just used this on like the entire project because it works so well for creating a really nice ambience. Let me turn the mix level all the way up. It just creates this beautiful wispy atmosphere. Just I don't really know how to explain it. A lot of this is coming from the grain presets right here. That's what makes this kind of like reverb slash delay type of plugin stand out from other ones in my opinion. So let me turn everything else off, and this sounds like this. And then let me demonstrate the grain delay here, which I also love. It's a very, very nice touch for sure. Each module also has an EQ. You can also EQ it. Every single module also has a little randomizer right here. For example, let's say I find a reverb preset that I really like. Now I'm going to move on to the grain reverb, and I'm just going to basically just hit this until I find a really nice preset. I like that. I like that. After all that, let's say I want to adjust the master right here. I can turn down the stereo width of the effects applied, because sometimes when you start stacking reverbs and delay, it gets pretty crazy. And then one thing I love about this is I can actually spread out mono sounds with a Haas effect, and essentially it creates a delay like the left and right channels to make it seem like it's spread out. They also have a Haas mix right here. Often when you start playing with the Haas effect, you get phasing issues, which is where you run into mono compatibility issues. Let's just turn down the Haas mix. And also the global mix is also turned down a little bit, so that I think that does affect it quite a bit. And then of course, you know they've got to have the global randomizer up here, man. Randomizes everything all at once. That's interesting. Hold on. There's also a chorus plugin right here, up to 7 voices. Keep on randomizing here. That's interesting. Okay, cool. So this plugin is actually on sale right now until December 5th, I believe. And I also have a code for you guys. If you use it at checkout when you're trying to buy Spacer, you'll get a free copy of a lo-fi/analog vinyl, you know, emulation plugin, kind of like RC20. So yeah, you get a 2-in-1. So yeah, shout out to Spectral Plugins, man. Let's go ahead and get on with this video. So for the top line, the only thing I did different was I used a different spacer preset. This is without it. And then this is with it. Then I just added a Portal Time Traveler preset just to give it an extra twinkle. So after this, I always add a bass to my samples. So I use Monolith for this, just a regular bass pattern. You have the main piano, the top line, and the bass down. So now you want to start filling up your sample with accents. I use the Spirit Sweeper, also from Monolith, and this is what it sounds like without any effects. And this is what it sounds like with effects. Basically just a lot of grain delay and grain reverb. I automated it with an automation clip and a volume automation clip. So after that, I added an arcade. You're gonna fill this up with accents, right? Because that's one thing I see a lot of samples lacking. Red Lotus, it was a distant vocals, and essentially what I'm trying to do is give the sample some air. So you can barely tell it's there. That's perfect. And I'll show you how much of a difference it makes by turning it off in the middle of the sample. It's gone. Sounds so much emptier now. That high end right there on the vocal creates a huge difference. We're gonna actually layer the keys now. This is something I recommend you do. I mean, I do it religiously. Control C, Control V, and then pitch it up. Or just pitch it however you need to make it sound good. That was the implode key from my 𝕃𝕇 the Trilogy one-shot kit. And then I did the copy and paste yet again, except you'll see I just moved all the notes to be on the line right here. So they're just plain chords. Very, very quiet, but it does add a little bit of air, just like the vocal sample did. Whole lot more interesting. So you see how much those tiny accents added to the whole thing. Now, to top it off, typically you either reach for a violin or a vocal, and for that, I actually used arcade. Very, very, very huge mistake I see people making. They fill up every single last bit of the sample. Yes, that's absolutely beautiful, but it just makes it a whole lot harder to write over. What I recommend doing is using vocals very, very sparingly. Very subtle and in the background, makes songwriting a lot easier. First, I always add an 𝕃𝕇 to my vocals to pitch them up really high. Adds like this really weird glitchy effect, so it sounds absolutely horrendous. Just please trust me. I add one EQ to filter it, then I add another EQ to filter it. I always do this with multiple EQs just so I can make sure to get it right, and then I add another filter right here, so now it sounds like this. And then after the reverb comes in, it's going to turn those ugly glitches into like an interesting accent. I honestly like it, but if you don't like it, you can just like leave out the 𝕃𝕇. Then finally, I just added a shaper box to do like a reverse effect. Just want to lay it on a normal clap. I always typically add another one right here to add like a little bit of bounce. Next, I just added a very basic snare just at the very beginning. That was the wing clap for my 𝕃𝕇 the Trilogy drum kit, and this is a Nike snare. Next, just a hi-hat. And this is where I really recommend just working with very small patterns. So for example, 2 bars is all that I work with. For the beats at like 96 BPM, I like to leave a little bit of space. Play with the velocities right here. So to get that professional industry sound, what I recommend doing is instead of doing 1 super complex hi-hat pattern, do 4 super basic hi-hat patterns. The next pattern I added was this one right here. And that was the Beware hat from the 𝕃𝕇 the Trilogy, and the one before that was the Hurricane hat. That reverb you're hearing is actually from Spacer, so that's why it sounds like that. It sounds a little bit unique. Next, I added the 3rd hat pattern. Very simple. For the 4th hi-hat pattern, it's actually a live hat loop. Trilogy kit actually has a bunch of hat loops like this that I work with. Without it, it's like so quiet, but it adds so much to the track. Next, I just add this rim right here to kind of fill in the bounce pretty much. And then you could actually switch this up by moving this last one over. Oh yeah, that was the Stacy rim, 𝕃𝕄𝔸𝕆. Then I added the ravine hat. Reverse hat right here. I just simply take like a hat and I just reverse it. Finally, man, just an 808. The reason I actually pitched this sample down, I wanted the 808 to hit between the G sharp and D sharp. If I pitch it down, it doesn't sound the same. Ignore the fact that it's out of key. That's not the point. It just doesn't hit as hard as up here, for example. For the 808 pattern, I actually don't use the copy and paste technique. I simply just do like a completely unique 4-bar pattern because this is like the element that the listener really kind of grabs onto, or it's the element that I want the listener to grab onto pretty much. Finally, just threw in a riser.
But who am I to blame you for my wrong? The color telling me I'm right when I write these songs. I need a little more time. 3.5 clouds and I'm flying. I swear I hate the fate, I'm always doing wrong. I've been moving all you want if it's too damn long. Regretting every time I lie, but that's the story of my life.
Sent this over to my boy 𝕃𝕄𝕆. He is insanely talented, man. Y'all gotta go check him out. But yeah, let me know if we should finish this, and if y'all want to see how I mixed it, I'll do that as well. Don't forget to check out Spacer, and then of course that code is always there to get that extra free plugin. So yeah, till next time.